In this example, it asks you to find values of trigonometric ratio or trig ratio, meaning sine theta, cosine theta, tangent theta, cosecant theta, secant theta, and cotangent theta. So again, if we review, sine theta is opposite over hypotenuse, cosine theta is adjacent over hypotenuse, tangent theta is opposite over adjacent, cosecant theta is hypotenuse over opposite, secant theta is hypotenuse over adjacent, cotangent theta is adjacent over opposite. So if you were given a triangle, a right angle triangle, where one side is 15, the other side is 8, and the hypotenuse is 23, we always know that the hypotenuse is the slanted side or the longest side compared with all three sides of the triangle. Now here they gave you the angle, so that means that if the angle is drawn, this side is next to the angle, meaning therefore this side is adjacent to the angle. Then the side with the 8 is across or opposite of the angle. So opposite. And again, hypotenuse is always the slanted longest side of the triangle. So if we go for each trig function, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So from this angle, the opposite is 8. So we're going to put 8 on the top. Excuse me. So again, we're going to put 8. And then for hypotenuse, we're going to put 23. So sine theta is equal to 8 over 23. And that's it. We're just going to leave it like that. Not going to mess with it. It's just, all it's asking is just find values. Don't worry about converting to decimal. Just leave it like that. Cosine theta is adjacent, so which is 15, over hypotenuse, which is 23. So again, cosine theta is adjacent, meaning that the side next to the angle, which is 15, and then hypotenuse will be at the bottom. Now tangent theta is the opposite, so across or opposite of the angle is 8, and then adjacent is the side that's next to the angle, which is 15. So tangent theta is equal to 8 over 15, and that's it. Cosecant theta is hypotenuse, so this one right here, 23 will be on the top, over opposite, so across from the angle is 8, so 23 over 8. Secant theta is hypotenuse, so the longest side is 23, over adjacent is on the bottom, so adjacent is the side next to the angle, which is 15, so 15 will be on the bottom. So secant theta is 23 over 15. And then cotangent is adjacent on the top, so adjacent to the angle, meaning next to the angle, the side, is 15, so 15 will be on the top. And then what's opposite of the angle is 8, so 8 will be on the bottom. So cosecant theta is hypotenuse over opposite, which is 23 over 8. And then secant is hypotenuse over adjacent. So hypotenuse is 23 over adjacent, which is 15, so 23 over 15. And then cotangent is adjacent over opposite, so adjacent next to the angle is 15, and then opposite is 8, which is over 8. So that's how you would find the 6th trig ratio when given a triangle. Now say that the angle is on a different position. So here, maybe they're going to ask you for this angle. So instead of being over here, maybe it's asking you find the ratio when the angle theta is over here. So if that's the change, then your answer here will be different but using the same numbers. So, if your angle theta is located here, that means now what's next to the angle is 8. The side that's next to the angle is 8. The one that is across or opposite is now the side with 15. The hypotenuse is the same because, again, hypotenuse is always the longest side of the triangle. So, if it's asking you to find the sine theta, so from here, it's opposite over hypotenuse. So, opposite over hypotenuse. That means it's going to be 15 over 23. Cosine theta is adjacent over hypotenuse. So what's next to the angle is 8 over the longest side, which is 23. So on the top, it's going to be 8 over 23, which is the hypotenuse. Now tangent theta is the opposite, which is 15. That's going to be on the top, over adjacent, which is 8, since it's next to the angle. So sine theta is 15 over 23. Cosine theta is 8 over 23. Tangent theta is 15 over 8. Now let's look at cosecant. Again, it's hypotenuse over opposite. So hypotenuse on the top will be 23 over what's opposite from the angle, which is 15. So cosecant theta is 23 over 15. Secant theta is hypotenuse over adjacent. So hypotenuse is along the side, 23, and it's on the top. And on the bottom is adjacent. So what's next to the angle is 8. So 8 will be at the bottom. Cotangent theta is adjacent over opposite. So what's adjacent, meaning what's next to it, is 8. So 8 will be on the top. Opposite, so across from the angle, is 15. That's going to be on the bottom. So it's 8 over 15. Now, review. Cosecant theta is 23 over 15. Secant theta is 23 over 8. And then cotangent theta is 8 over 15. So, when you're given a triangle, and it's asking you to find the trig values, trig ratio, where you have an angle in one of the two corners, all you have to do is follow the formula for sine, cosine, tangent with these three, cosecant, secant, and cotangent with these three, and therefore you'll be able to find the 6 ratio or 6 fraction for all the 6 trig functions.